Hobby Warriors. Today we are continuing to paint the Infinity Defiance core crew, and today we've got Uma Sorensen as the subject for today's video. I really enjoyed painting this model. It's a mix of classic layering technique and some contrast paint. So let's go on down to the hobby table and I'll show you how to do this. Hey there, Hobby Warriors. We're down at the paint table and I'm just showing off the primed miniature. I use Vallejo gray surface primer mixed with a little bit of white acrylic ink to get a really nice light gray color because we'll be using some contrast paint. To get started though, we're going to use Techless Blue and we're going to undercoat all of the blue armor in this color, in the traditional Panoceania style. Okay, next up we're going to use Dawnstone. So the miniature has these really cool Molly webbing receivers on her thighs. So we're going to go ahead and base coat those in Dawnstone. This is just a really awesome detail that they added on this mini, and just goes to show Corvus Belli's dedication to making really awesome miniatures. Okay, next up we're going to base coat the pants in Deathworld Forest. It's a really nice olive drab color that'll be perfect for the base coat for this. Okay, next up we're going to use Apothecary White contrast paint on all of the areas that are going to remain white. This is a very nice light grayish blue color that's the perfect shade for white areas on your miniatures. So we're going to apply this to the chest armor, inside the shin guards, and the helmet visor. Okay, now we're going to use Black Templar contrast paint to go ahead and detail all of our black areas. So it's going to be the butt of the pistol that's in her holster, the two submachine guns that she's carrying, and her boots. Alright, there's not much leather detailing on the miniature, but we're gonna go ahead and use snakebite leather to paint the holster as well as her belt. Alright, so now I'm going to dilute Army Painter Dark Tone Shade with a little bit of, it's called Transpirator, but it's really just acrylic medium. I'm going to go ahead and dilute that down 2 to 1, so 2 parts Transpirator, 1 part wash. And I'm going to apply this to all of the blue armor and inside of the shin guards. You want to be very careful with this, though. You don't want it spilling over onto other parts of the miniature. Just try to keep it on that armor. With it being thinned down, it's not too stark. So if you do make a mistake, you should be able to cover it up pretty easily. And while that's drying, we're going to break out Yand in yellow and just go ahead and color in her ponytail. And now we're going to use Gilliman Flesh and go ahead and base coat her face. You want to apply this a little bit thicker than everything else so that you get some really nice recessed shading in her eye sockets and in between her lips, as well as filling in the space where her face meets her helmet. And moving right along, we're going to go ahead and use a liner brush with Gryph-hound Orange. And we're going to fill in the LEDs on the miniature, so on her faceplate, as well as the 6 LEDs that are on her abdomen. There technically are LEDs modeled on the pants, front and back. I just thought that that would look really, really awkward, so I did not paint those. So just the 6 on the abdomen, and then her eye sockets on the face mask. Alright, so now we're going to highlight the pants, and we're going to mix in some Sunny Skin Tone from Vallejo into our Deathworld Forest. I started with a 50-50 mix and highlighted very large volumes that would be essentially in direct light. So the tops of the thighs, the back of the thighs, since she has a pretty open stance. And I don't actually show myself mixing the paint in the clip, but I then lighten the mix even further by adding in a couple extra parts of Sunny Skin Tone, and then I do a second highlight inside of the first highlight to get some really, really nice bright tones. Now we're going to start working on that blue armor again, and we're going to use this Temple Guard blue, and we're going to do a pretty broad highlight. All of the raised plates of armor, we're going to go ahead and cover up maybe about 70% of them, leaving our original techless blue and our recess shade inside those recesses. We don't want to cover that up, but we do want to brighten up the surfaces of the armor with this color. Now we're going to use light sea blue from Vallejo to go in and do our second highlight on the blue armor panels. So I'm applying this thickly but sticking close to the edges. So I may be covering up maybe 40% of our previous highlight, leaving that darker color toward the middle of the plates. But making sure that we have this light sea blue and a nice thick line along all of the edges. Alright, last step for the blue armor, we're going to go ahead and use Baharoth blue. Am I pronouncing that correctly? I did, Baharoth. Baharoth blue, and we're going to go ahead and do an edge highlight on all of these blue armor panels, focusing on specifically the tops of the panels, so any edges that would be catching light from above, we want to make sure that we pick those out. Okay, so now we're going to use this red crystal from Ammo by Mig just to go ahead and paint in the LEDs on her backpack. And we're going to use Sunny Skin Tone to go ahead and highlight the raised parts of her face, so her nose, her cheekbones, right above her chin. And do be careful, her helmet actually covers the majority of her chin, so you want to have a really good tip in order to get that highlight done. And now here I'm mixing matte white and Dawnstone just to get a really light gray. For whatever reason, I ran out of light gray paint and did not realize it, so I had to mix my own. And I'm using this to highlight the white parts inside of the shin guards. You want to be very careful though and not cover up the recess shading that we've had, and also make sure that you don't cover up, there's a split in the middle of the shin guard that should be filled with our recess shade, that we don't want to cover that back up either. And outside of the shin guards, we're just going around and edge highlighting all of the white parts with this mix. Alright, Hobby Warriors, there she is, all finished. I thoroughly enjoyed painting this model. As I said previously in the intro, this is definitely my favorite model out of the entire batch of the core heroes. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of the model, what you think of the paint job, and if you've received your copy of Defiance, or if you're eagerly awaiting it, let me know how you're getting on with your hobby in the comments below. Also, if you're interested in staying up to date with everything that we're doing, we typically only drop 1 to 2 videos per week. So the best way to stay up to date with us is to follow us on Instagram at JTS Wargaming. I post all of my work in progress pictures on that Instagram account, and that way you can stay up to date with what's coming down the pipeline in our future videos. So if you're interested in how I did her base, up in the cards I'm going to put a link to my basing guide. Very briefly though, it's the Geek Gaming Scenics Urban Scatter Mix. And because it's a uniform gray color, I went ahead and threw some washes over top and then dry brushed it a little bit, just to make the rocks pop out. And that's pretty much it. So if you like the content, go ahead and like and subscribe, share it with a friend, and I'll see you all in the next video. Keep slaying the gray, Hobby Warriors.